Welcome to episode 10 of Between Two Towers. For those who may not know, I am Easy.
And I'm Executive Pirate. Welcome in. Oh, hey,
Yeah,
how you
you're
doing?
good, brother. You're looking good too. I see you up on stream. Even I look good on your screen. Tonight, we talk about the communities that got it right. Pirate, we are taking a spin into a positive direction this time. How do you feel
Yes.
about that, man?
I'm happy because, I can rant about anything, but I always prefer to be a bit positive. I mean, with my style of, you know, loud, loud, general, going off about things, it tends to lean more into the negative just because it makes for better content. But it eats away at you after a while, you know?
Yeah, man. No, for sure. That's something that Bunny and I have talked about a couple times, right? Is there's, and I don't want to call it easy content, but what's the phrase? Call a spade a spade. It is easy content to rag on a subject or a person, make negative content, as it were, and
Yeah.
have that go grow legs and run, if you will. But as you have shown, um, you can talk about something even in a negative, put a funny spin on it, and get over a third of a million people to watch it, and have tens of thousands of people like it, and a couple thousand people even comment, mostly agreeing with you. So I think that even with negativity being an easy content, if you spin it the right way and like take the fangs out of it or take declaw the negativity, just you make fun of it, you can get to have those same conversations and not bring up those feelings.
I agree. Special shout out to the guy that said I should be president.
I'd vote for you. You know that. Uh,
Appreciate it. I promise to bring no good contributions to the office.
so we shouldn't expect anything different, is what you're telling me.
No, not
Cool,
at all.
cool,
I'll be a little more eloquent, a little less orange.
perfect. I think we'll be all okay with both of those things. Speaking of doing things in a positive note, in contrast to the last episode where you talked about you left WoW, I'm not going to bring up the fact that you have since come back to WoW, but that
Oh, by all
maybe.
means, bring it up.
So I want to make sure that keeping it in the spirit of the episode that I posit this correctly. So give me a moment on the soapbox. One of the subjects that we talked about with why you left was community. Something that I've
Yes.
noticed from your departure to when you came back is I felt a lot of pressure to hold community together besides the obvious of the title of guildmaster. It is very easy to just do nothing. Thinking
Uh,
about all of the companies and games we're going to talk about tonight, such great effort is put into these communities that give such an experience that original developers either they don't have the foresight for, or they do and they just don't have the time and the money to do it, and it takes an entire community to build your comfy Valheim, your thousand mod pack Skyrims and Fallouts. It takes a passion for it and more than one team to pull that kind of stuff off. So now that you're back to WoW, and we're going to be talking in general about communities that are getting it right, how do you like being back to WoW and what's doing it for you?
Honestly, the community. I will say that, after stepping away for like the 2 months, month and a half, however long it was, I did notice I was getting a bit burnout on the game. So, kind of some of my complaints in the last episode, or the anti Blizzard episode, as I call it. I definitely like some of that was a little disingenuous. I was getting burnout on the game because I was trying to do too much. Whenever I came back and I felt like my bucket of patience, so to speak, it was no longer a teacup. It was back to being a bucket. I had patience for people doing stuff. Have I had negative encounters? Oh, most certainly, both in retail, both and classic. But I've found that I've become more aware of the positive, and I've started calling out the positive. I've started leaning into that.
Yeah.
I have a few stories I'm willing to share later on, whenever we get into that topic, about just that. Like a handful of people that I met or leaning into like just silly role playing things, like climbing up onto the throne behind Mechatork and Tinkertown and being like, I am the queen of the gnomes, do what I tell you, and having people respond to that. Or something as simple as making a macro of /high five that sits on my bar, and anytime I pass somebody, Horde or Alliance, I click that bad boy. And you know what? I've had people stop and give me a high five back.
I feel I've been on the receiving end of like the random salute or what have
Mm-hmm.
you, and instinctively it's like I have to stop and return in kind. Like if it's I also don't like doing the same one back. So like if you were to like walk by me and high five, I would try to like salute to you or do like a
Yep.
bow, like something else to show respect. I don't know any like high five I would consider respectful but fun. I can't. I don't know the plethora of emotes available to me.
You
Um,
know, there's a curtsy.
a curtsy, you say?
Yeah, do you do the bow emote, but it says they curtsy before you, which if I'm playing a
Mm.
person in a robe or like, I often flip a coin for the genders of my characters. But if it's a lady, guess what? She's going to curtsy at people.
Yep, I like that. Keeping true to the roleplay. Absolutely.
Yes.
So what I'm hearing, man, is that you you took a step back, you caught your breath, you picked up that mantle of, and I'm gonna call it the responsibility. You can Peter Parker your way out of this all you can try to. Um, when you put in the effort, you're gonna get it back in kind. And to my
Yes.
point before that, it is very easy to just sit there and do nothing. It's the one of the biggest lessons I've learned as a GM so far is how easy it is to just sit there and expect. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm the one. And so part of me being happy of you being back is now I have that creative side back. That was one of the huge selling points in my own mind is that like I pictured you like the school mistress in Stormwind bringing everybody around and being like, so this is that and this is this. Like that would be like besides the fact that that's its own content that you yourself can put out there. I think that that provides a community experience to people that they're just not even expecting. What
I
you
actually have a good example of what you're talking about.
give it to me?
I learned how to do a spell cleave group recently. The guy Mocha, I cannot remember his name. Shout out to you, Mocha, if you're watching. He taught me how to spell cleave, and then I ran into him literally the next day. I was like, Mocha, what's up, buddy? And he invited me in, and he just could not fill the group. And that's how I learned how to fill groups back in the day. It was like, oh, the tank ain't doing a good enough job in general. And next thing you know, or slash who, what are we looking for? Mages in the 30 to 40 bracket? Okay, slash who mage 30/40. Boom, there's a list. Let's start whispering people that are in zones nearby. Within 10 minutes, I had his group filled. And he messaged me like, thanks for filling the group, man. And I'm like, I could sit here for an hour going, I don't have a group, win. Or I could just do it. Just do it.
Yep. I think what's important to point out there, citing your past few months, is that there is a point of like, all right, I need to step away. This has become too much, and I don't want to attribute it to like malice of like people might take advantage of it because that's it's an easy thing to do nothing when there's
Right.
someone willing to do something. But I think that that's where community comes in again, where having someone like you is has the ability to attract more like you, so that when you are not the only one in queue to bring everybody around to look at stuff or what have you. Same thing with raid leaders. Like I cannot have the entire thing on Wumbo just because he knows everything. There are other people that in the guild that know enough to keep people alive in not hardcore chill group, at least in 5 mans once we start getting into 20 mans. And that's important that the community takes care of itself. And that's leading by example, keeping in mind when it comes to the point that you need a break from it. All of those things culminated together is what I want to highlight here, is that the past couple months has been very interesting to watch you reflect in myself and then play with everybody.
It's on what you're talking about. It's real easy to get mad at loves to stab for moving during flame wreath, but it's even easier to go, hey man, whenever he says this line or whenever you see flame wreath out, don't move. It doesn't matter if it's on you. Get in the habit of not moving, and then all of a sudden nobody's wiping on flame wreath.
Yeah.
It's the easiest example I could think of
Yeah,
because
that's a
that
good
was
one.
how we handled that. It doesn't matter if you have it or not. Don't move, and we won't wipe.
Yep. Okay. I don't want to give the entire night to WoW, as easy as that is to do, especially these days. There are a couple communities that I want to bring to light. And actually, I want you to start first.
No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky is a fantastic game. It came out in a really weird way, and then the developers have just added everything they can over the last, like, what, 9 years? All for free. All for free. And even recently, they just dropped the Worlds 2 update, which completely revamped how the worlds are generated. It's an entirely new game. No longer are there ocean planets that are really just a puddle. No, there's depths. It gets scary down there. I don't even want to do it. Um, but it's one of those games where you can play it however you want. There's so many games within the game, and if you do, regardless, so many games within the game. There's a community for each way to play. You're in a base building. There's some dude over there that has built, the Nakatomi Plaza building on this planet. Are you into customizing your ship? There's a guy who will happily walk you through that. Are you trying to do some old quest and you're stuck? There's a dude that's like, oh yeah, here's the workaround. And not only that, but there's the social space. It's the anomaly. You can just doop doop doop. It'll show up in space and you can just fly into it. Looks like a mix between the Traveler and the Death Star. And it's the social space. Now, when you land, you'll sometimes see that there's nobody there, or there's a bunch of ships and people are just hanging out. I cannot tell you how many times I can go in and just AFK and go make a sandwich, go to the bathroom, whatever. 9 times out of 10, I'll come back and my inventory will just be full of stuff. And I'm not talking like random, sodium or facium or magnetized ferrite. I'm talking like AI valves that are worth stacks that are worth millions and millions of units, to the point that within the first 2 hours of playing, I didn't need money anymore. And that became a really interesting thing because now I no longer need to sell this. Oh, did I dig up this ancient artifact that's worth 300,000 units? Cool. That's going in my inventory. And I cannot wait to go back to the anomaly to do a quest just so I can be like, oh, look, that's a starter ship. That's not one of the ones you get. That's literally the starter ship. Well, let's see. Let's mouse over it. Who's the name? All right, let's go find that guy and just drop this 300,000 unit thing in his inventory because it's such a massive boon. There's so many different helpful people in that game, to the point that outside of like your occasional griefer, which you're going to have anyway, there's always exceptions to a rule. There's always outliers. You don't run into these rude people. And even if somebody wants to shoot you or whatnot, it's a toggle box in your options to turn off PvP. It's wonderful. I mean, I honestly cannot. I don't think I can name a bad experience I've had in No Man's Sky with another player.
What do you think it is that has the community being, and I'm assuming this, of course, the community being small? Do you think it was that original launch? Do you think it was the fact that most of the worlds people went to were like not great? Because as I remember, No Man's Sky when it launched, it was very it's a very big thing to say we have billions and billions of planets and you can go to all of them. And I'm kind of teeing up for you to make the transition to Fallout 76 here, but do you think that it took that community thing to, I don't know, distract the player base from the fact that the base game is weird or has these like not fully finished things? I don't know. Am I making sense here with my question?
I think I get where you're getting at. In the beginning, it was a little weird, and I stepped away, so I can't really speak too much on the community aspect of it. But Shiro in chat hit on something very interesting with that. Like, when does it become helpful and too helpful to the point of what's the point of playing if things just get handed to you? Well, you can't. you can't just hand everything to somebody. There are people who will go around planets and you can tame creatures and then incubate eggs, and then you have eggs of the creature you tamed. I have a giant space worm pet that just flies stupid fast. That was literally just somebody dropped the egg in my inventory. But I can't give you ship parts. I can't give you really any of this stuff, any of the truly important stuff. I can't be like, I have a fantastic ship here. I can't go, this is my favorite ship, it's now yours. I can scrap ships and get parts and then give them to you and you can build your own ship. That's true. But there's a certain level where they can't give things to you. It's kind of like in I can't think of anything off the top. Like Destiny. Destiny is a good example of where I can come and I can solo the mission for you, but I can't give you the gun. I can't give you the shader. I can't give you the thing that I have that you want. I can help you get it yourself, or I can teach you how to do it.
I was thinking about also Shiroman's comment, and I immediately went to Diablo 3. A really, really good friend of mine was playing it all on his own, and I was playing it all on my own. We never really talked about playing it together until the one day, like, why aren't we playing together? And we go and play together, and he's like significantly further along than I am, and he goes and runs me through what, like a nightmare 80, and like I just hit like the Paragon board. So
Mhm.
I'm standing there and I'm like amazed at all the big pretty numbers, and then it really sinks in, like,
What did I really just do?
yeah, exactly. So that balance is, I think that's a big part too of when you have a community, and it's all freaking caveman tribalism when you really think about it. Like when you have these communities, being on the same wavelength about things like that are really really important, because you don't want to come in expecting one thing to like maybe have a crutch or training wheels or whatever metaphor you kind of want to throw in there,
Yeah.
compared to just the straight carry. And thinking of it in those words, I think about, like, just to bring it back a little bit to WoW, I will outright ask to be boosted. I don't want to do the quest. I'm not trying to play the game. I'm just trying to get to the end. And people just get that. And people sell those runs and all that kind of things. If you get into a guild where you have people willing to do that, like, that's a big selling point of the guild to begin with.
Well, it circles back to what you were saying before. You go into that. It's easy to just be like, they're going to do whatever they're going to do. And oh, I don't like that. But it's difficult for some people to just be like, hey, I appreciate you letting me run with you. This is cool. Can I play too? I understand that there's a certain level that like I'm not going to be at, but this isn't as fun. I appreciate the dumping of the Paragon levels on me. It's nice to be able to be like, okay, I can apply these stats across all my characters. Now, do you want to grab somebody closer to my level, or show me how to do what you're doing so that way I'm not left in the dust? My real life friend, he's in my chat often, Mockerish. We played Borderlands 3 together quite a lot. I enjoyed playing the Siren, and he enjoyed playing Zane. We have two different play styles. He will farm a boss for 3 years just to get the one specific thing he's looking for, and I take the Diablo 1 style of I kill everything in the room because everything can drop what I'm looking for. His Zane was stupid fast. He would just be zooming ahead, then he would drop his clone and port back to me. And I'm like, that's all fun and games, but like, I still have to get to you. This isn't any fun when you kill everything in the room and then I'm just
Yeah.
it's communication. All it took for that to stop happening was going, I don't think these two character play styles are compatible. You want to make characters together and like run together? And that changed the entire thing. We started having fun again.
Yeah. Yeah. An easy
So
fix,
so
too. Nice.
it's easy, like you said, to do nothing. It
Yep.
takes it takes fortification to
Yeah.
step up and go. This isn't fun. I'm glad you're having fun. Because I Diablo 3. I have a character on console, literally in like modded gear. It's like an 8 billion sheet damage monk. It's stupid. No cooldowns, no resource usage. but I use it specifically for what you just mentioned. Oh, you just got your character to level cap? Cool. I'm going to take you into a rank 150 greater rift. These aren't even supposed to be able to be done, I think. I think they're literally debug tools for balance testing. But we're just going to you stay here. I will clear everything. And then for me, the joy that I get is hearing their reaction when they go from 0 Paragon to 700 Paragon in like 10 minutes. And they're just like, what the heck? I'm leveling faster than my screen can keep up. Oh my gosh, this is I love it. I eat that up. Nom 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 nom. Good stuff. But at the same time, once I do that, I go and grab a different character because it's not fun to be led around by the nose.
Right.
I had a negative encounter with the game
Phasmophobia.
Phasmophobia. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Like I have friends who are so good at that game. They'll walk in, they'll be like, doop, 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 it's this. And I'm like,
Yep.
how do you know?
You know who was really good to me with that? Slidey.
Slidey is excellent about explaining stuff.
Yeah, I poked on her the first time I went to play that game, and she came in, and as we go to start playing, I'm like, dude, she's like really good. I hope she doesn't fly through it. The polar opposite. She just stayed with me, but I don't think we made it past the front door, and like I have a clip of it. That was my first time seeing another player in the game.
Yeah.
And when you crouch and you look up, like, oh, it's the freaking best thing ever, man. Like, what are you doing, you stupid game? And like that in and of itself made her being there worth it. Like she then explained things because I asked her. She didn't just start going into it. So yeah, kudos to Slidey for being a good teacher. But that's one of those examples of like cultivating a community in which people kind of get why you're hitting them up for whatever it is that you're hitting them up for, reading the room and just being there having a good time with you. So that's good. That's really, really good.
My first time playing Diablo 3, or not Diablo 3, Dark Souls 3. I got led up to, I want to say about a third into the game. And they basically were like, oh yeah, do this, do that, summon me here. And I'm like, all right, I don't know. I put zero research into it because I was just playing it with them. And then they quit playing, and I'm like, I don't even know what stats I should be leveling. I don't know how to level up my weapons. I don't know how to do any of this. I'm stuck at a later point in the game, having learned none of the lessons that I should have learned to get there. And I put the game down for like over a year. And then eventually, whenever I started going through it on my own, at my own pace, there we go. And I started to enjoy it. No Man's Sky is a perfect game for that. I tell people, look, are you picking it up? Play it in relaxed mode, so all your resource costs are simple. It's not like, oh, you gotta throw some ferrite in this here refiner and let it sit for 20 minutes and then refine the magnetized ferrite into perfect magnetized ferrite just so you can build this and that and the third. No.
Yeah.
Do this, but play it. Go and play the game. If you have questions, come to me. But I'm not going to be there in your back pockets going, no, do this. No, do that.
Right.
Because a lot of what makes these games fun is making those mistakes, going the wrong way. You have to play it in order to understand it. And once you understand it, then all of the little intricacies come into play. Like you got to learn that you don't need proc weapons on a hunter to learn what kind of weapons you do need on a hunter. You got to have a pet runaway before you know, oh shit, okay, so they're going to sit at the red they're going to sit at that red, at frowny face for a good hour or two before they actually abandon me. You got to stay there for 6 minutes of feigned death to learn that it will kill you if the bar runs out. Feigned death becomes real death.
It's so strange to me, man. I don't like what's like. This is a sidetrack, but if you know the answer, I want to know it too. What is the like lore or the canon information behind why do you die if you feign death for too long?
I don't think there's any lore, but I think it goes along with you need raptor heads and you killed a raptor and you didn't get a head. It's not that raptor didn't have a head. It's just that the way that you killed it made that head unsalvageable. I think you pretended to be dead for long enough that somebody came over and was like, yeah, let's make sure.
Wouldn't that be some shit? No matter where you are and you feign death, some guy comes with a stick and just like Roman checks you, just man.
Yeah, I mean, like that was a thing that happened on Battlegrounds. There were people that went around and like put the dead or put the wounded out of their misery if they weren't keeping captives. So that makes sense that like, oh yeah, I feigned death for long enough. Or maybe it's in a whole other thing. Like think about it like maybe you have like some of that like pufferfish poison or whatever. Or you take some kind of thing to slow your heart rate or
Oh,
whatever, and you don't do the counteractive thing. So it
yeah.
ends up killing you. I mean,
I
I feel
like
like
that
that's
one.
where it stops being like lore and starts leaning into the role play aspect of it.
Yeah. I
Because a
think
lot
that's
of
the wording
vanilla
I was
WoW,
looking for. Thank you. Yeah.
yeah, I think a lot of vanilla WoW leaned into you doing role playing or the
I
RP, I guess.
I don't want to get too negative. I'm not even gonna say what I was gonna say is like I feel like we're past the point in society where we take the RP in as the first reason why we're here. Like
Oh yeah,
RP, I think now is just a happenstance. Like, did you slow down long enough to read the thing before you hand it? We talked about this before.
just recently, I discovered an entire story that's been in vanilla WoW from the beginning that I had no idea. All because I took the book to the guy.
Yeah.
Didn't bother to read the book that was sitting in my inventory for 20 minutes while I ran across the zone to take it to the guy. But then when I did take the time to read the book, I'm like, this is here? This has been here this whole time? That makes so much sense. I have that revelation moment. And you only get those revelation moments when you stop to smell the roses, stop to do the role play.
I just had a thought in that
Oh no.
very I know, I'm sorry, but in that very specific scenario, did you need to have pre-existing knowledge in order to understand what you had in your hands?
No, it was literally a dude's journal. And I wasn't even the guy that I was taking the journal to isn't even the guy that gave me the quest. Another guy was like, "Hey, this is where I used to live. I saw somebody skulking around my barn. Can you go check it out?" And you find a fragment of a journal there. And you read through the journal and you pick up little hints about where the owner might be. And then you go to where you think he might be. And oh, lo and behold, here's the guy. And he's like, yeah, that's my journal. Here's the other half of it. Now you have the full story. Even
Yeah.
and then, they don't explain what the MacGuffin that caused the stuff was. That's where I needed the pre-existing knowledge. I needed to know what the word Scythe of Elune meant. And as soon as I read that, I was like, what? That's here? Whoa. Because like that's something I didn't even hear about. I didn't even know about until Legion. And that was there in vanilla. There's a lot of stuff like that in a lot of games where if you don't take the time to smell the roses, don't take the time to stop and look around. I mean, how often do you look up in any game? Like you walk into a building and you're like, oh, look at those rafters.
You know what the irony to that is? I'll look up outside way more than I'll look up inside. So
Mm-hmm.
like Valheim, I look up all the time in Valheim, but if I walk into any particular building in the game, nah, I'm not looking. I'm looking straight ahead. I'm looking. Actually, I'm looking down. This where is the thing I'm looking for?
The very first time I picked up Skyrim VR, I walked into Dragon's Reach and was just doing a thing. Because you can, the physics engine still works. I picked up a platter off of Jarl Balgruuf's table and flipped it and caught it and was like, oh, that's cool. And as I threw it into the air, I looked up and I was like, whoa, this is huge. Oh my gosh. Blackreach. How many people never look up and see that big orb in the sky? Much or at the cave, much less dragon shout into it to summon the optional dragon fight that's there.
Oh,
Yeah, oh yeah, you can. It's either Fusro Da or there's a specific shout. You shout into the fake sun in Dragon's Reach, and it summons a dragon underground that you fight.
oh,
Or Blackreach, not Dragon's Reach. Dragon's Reach.
Blackreach. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, interesting.
Again, we don't look up, and I think that comes from humans have no natural predators in the air, so we don't
Yeah,
typically. It's not something we instinctively do. What do? We look under things. We look around
yeah,
because there's always plenty of skittery crawly buggers that are willing to eat our
yeah.
ankles.
We are used to being usually the bigger thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There was a thing for a long time where deer didn't look up because they weren't used to hunters in tree stands. They do now.
Oh, sure. All right. I want to take a turn. I want to take a turn.
Go for it.
While playing WoW for a whole bunch as of late, there was a resurgence on my end to play Valheim. I played Valheim a couple years ago with Bunny. Shout out Darth Bunny. And we played it together on our own little server, just her and I. And I noticed while playing with our WoW friends that a couple of them were talking about Valheim. They said that they had their own server, and it really didn't dawn on me what that meant. added me to a Discord. I saw how big it was. Still, really wasn't like it didn't dawn on me what it was. And continuing to talk about it while playing WoW, they're eventually like, just get in and like make a character, come in and play. And I get in there, and this place has had so much effort put into it. As a new player coming into the server, you can start at a hotel, the Best West Hotel, completely built by the server providers. They have an entire Excel document filled with player made quests, where if you complete them, they will give you loot for it. Good loot too, not just
That's
sticks and
wild.
stones. Like, yeah, dude, like gear that you're gonna get in the next zone, they'll give to you in the previous zone to go fight the boss with, because you need the boss to go into the next zone. Like, just go out and play the game. That's all that their entire business model is: go out and play the game. They have like, what do you want to call it, like scavenger hunt esque things where you go along, you follow, you solve riddles to go to places and take screenshots and show that you've been there. All of this is community player provided. Not one lick a bit of it comes from Valheim and the developers. They're just a sandbox. And these are like the rich kids that come in with the pre-molded like castles that they just slam into the sandbox, pick it up like Tommy Pickle style, and it's just this beautiful, awesome thing. And they got all of these gears in the background of people replying to the screenshots and finding where you are and giving you your gear. I was completely blown away at how it very quickly all of this dawned on me. The intricate systems of portals and everything is labeled for you, and it's very user friendly. And it shows that this doesn't come from the developers making a game. This came from people who loved it so much they wanted your experience to be better than theirs. And I continue to be blown away at all of these things that this server provides. And their only rule is don't be a dick. And I think the wife and I have been doing pretty well on that rule, and having a time I didn't expect to have inside of Valheim.
That's really cool. That's actually that touches on the same thing that I was talking about with my Dark Souls 3 experience. That's a game that I jumped into with a bunch of friends. They kind of led me along, and the next thing I know, I'm fighting a lightning deer, and I'm like, okay, what's
Yep.
going on now? Whereas I feel like that's a game that I need to sit down and play by myself for a while. Nobody tells you in Minecraft to go punch trees. You have to learn
Yeah.
that. Nobody tells you, hey, when you hear that, move. You know, no,
Mm,
nobody's here teaching you that stuff happens at night. You learn that by being stuck out at night and getting you beat up by skeletons or
yeah.
Endermen.
Yep.
You learn not to look at Enderman because you looked at an Enderman.
I like that. I think what really made mine and Bunny's experience up to and including to this point maybe extra special or extra positive is that we have played the game before. So as we go through these things, none of what we're seeing or hearing is new. Like maybe the zones are, maybe like the things we're punching with a weapon are, maybe the weapon is different, but it's
Right.
you have a sword, you have an axe, you have a blunt, you have a blunt, lol. You have a bow, you have a couple different types of potions, and they all just upgrade as you go through the game. So fundamentals don't change. If you come into the game with those fundamentals intact, like you're getting the full value out of this community. Comfy, for those who don't know, COMFY. The Comfy community is just, I know of none other within either Valheim or across anything. I don't know much about the modded community. I'm going to let you take the reins on that part of the conversation. I've seen it over the shoulder of my wife plenty of times. But when it comes to this game and the grand effort I've seen put into it, I don't think anyone has come close to it in my experience, in my passings through, WoW included, especially fucking World of Warcraft.
I've had a similar thing. Like you're talking about big communities. There's the I think it's the Coordinates Exchange is what it's called. I could be wrong. There's a subreddit where in No Man's Sky, you have various ways to get around. You pulse engine from one planet to another. You use your hyperdrive to go to another star system. But if you want to jump, you can go into a black hole and it'll drop you somewhere else random. But if you really want to go to a specific place, or you want to, there's stargates. You have like a big portal, and there are glyphs. You put in, and you can put in a portal address. There are, if you take a screenshot of a planet or whatever, there are 7, I think, little glyphs at the bottom. That is the portal address. There's an entire subreddit dedicated to being like, I found this super cool planet, and
That's
there's the
so
portal
cool,
address.
man.
Or oh, I found a star system where on the first wave of ships that come into the space station, there's guaranteed or a high chance for an exotic ship or an A-class fighter or an A-class hauler, and it's the portal address. It's what it's all about. Like, it's not about like, hey, you want to go get this thing? Here you go. All you have to do is go do your quest line to open up the portals, and boom, you're done. You just do. Unscheduled off-world activation.
I want to take this opportunity then to give developers their due, because I ragged on them like 2 minutes ago, and this is where developers do take into account that communities, if given the opportunity to create a subreddit about something, they will in fact create a subreddit about something. It's a really dangerous line between like Gamba, let's say. Like, you can have plenty of things that are calculating odds for you, but having a repository of these like rather rare things that you're not going to monetize from it, but instead share in something just abstractly cool to those people engaging with it, you have a really good formula within your game. That, I think, what makes it actually special is that it doesn't need to be there. Like, it's not key
100%.
to the mechanics of the game. It's just, hey, players, by the way, if you notice this, it's for you. Like, I like that very much. That's cool, dude.
To touch on what Dagan Dune was talking about earlier in a comment, he has such love for the Dark Souls community, at least what it used to be before DS3 finished. There's a lot of things like there's a lot that you can expect out of the Dark Souls community. If there's a message on the ground near a ledge that says try jumping, don't do it. You're gonna do it because you're gonna want to know. If there's
Right.
a message near a wall that says illusory wall, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna ping, and the wall, it's gonna bounce right off the wall. There's not gonna be an illusory wall. But
Those notes are from other players. Like
yes,
you can be anywhere in the
yes,
game and leave a note, and another player
yes.
will see it, even though you don't interact with other players in the game.
When you load into a map, there's a check. The game automatically decides which notes you're going to see. Some are left from developers to be like specifically like, hey, here you go, and you can tell because they have like this weird light pattern rising off. But for the most part, they're from other players. And the cool thing about it is, say I leave a note saying, illusory wall here, or I find a note that says illusory wall here, and I was like, yeah, and it's not a wall, or it's an actual wall. It's not like something that disappears and I continue. Then I can put a note just behind it that says liar ahead, because all of the notes you pick from pre-constructed words. It's a way to prevent people from being like herp derp 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 and saying hateful stuff. So you
Gotcha.
have to do a little bit of reading between the lines with stuff. But if you see that note and you see one behind it that says liar ahead, you hit the wall and you write, yeah, that guy was a liar. You can go
Oh,
back to my note and you can either vote it good or vote it positively or vote it negatively. It doesn't matter which one you do, though, because if I'm playing at that time, my health refills. So not only does it encourage you to leave those notes, because there have been a couple times in Elden Ring where I was in the middle of a boss fight, health refilled. I'm like, yes,
nice.
Valhalla,
Oh,
run
that's
in.
so cool, dude.
Or you can be invaded and you'll see a dude that's all red, or you get a free Estus charge. Exactly. You'll see you'll be invaded by Dark Spirit Mad Monster Mansion, and or whatever, and he'll show up and some dude will run up in all red. For the most part, I call it doing the wiggle. It's like whenever you're two-handing a weapon and you do the block animation, but you just mash the button real quick. Your guy's like,
Yeah.
like he's holding it up, but then he puts it down, holds it up, put it really fast. They'll wiggle back at you. That's like traditionally the I'm ready.
Yeah.
Um, but most of the time they'll walk up unless they're honorless dogs, and there's a few of them out there. They'll walk up and they'll hit you with a bow or something else. They'll emote at you,
Oh,
and they'll wait for you to emote back. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And that is its own kind of like dual etiquette. Yes, I
yeah.
invaded your world. Yes, I'm here to kill you and reset your progress. But there's no need to be a dick about it.
There's no need to be a dick about it. All
I'm
right.
here to kick your ass, but I want a fair fight.
Yeah.
It's the difference between a bandit and Goku.
Oh, sure. You said something on stream today, and if I was drinking coffee at the moment, I would have spit it out. What did
What,
you
Goku's a fight sexual?
Yeah, I lost my mind when you said that, dude. Oh
Yeah.
my god, because it's true. It's a hun. As soon as you said it, I'm like, I can't find the lie in it.
Goku cares more about the fight than he cares about his own son. That's why Piccolo raised his son.
That's right. That's freaking right, man. Dude, Vegeta's a better father than Goku.
Yes!
He wouldn't
There's
leave
there's
Earth to
literally
train because Bulma was pregnant.
there's literally a scene in Dragon Ball Z Super where
Oh,
Vegeta talks about kissing his wife, and Goku's like, "What's that?" And Vegeta looks at him like, "You've never kissed your wife." And I
oh.
like to think that Goku does kiss his wife. He just doesn't know that's the word for it.
Yeah, I bet he thought it was food. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because everything, that's Goku's world. Can I eat it? Can I punch it?
Gonna
I can do
punch it.
both. I love this.
I love this thing. Oh, that's why he likes hunting. I get to punch it, then I get to eat it.
Yes, 100%. I will. I doubt Akira Toriyama ever said it, but I bet you he would be sitting there like, yep,
Yep.
that right there.
All right, it's your turn. And we've mentioned it already. I just want to tee you off for it. Tell me, and I'm going to just do a blanket Bethesda, but I would like you to start with 76. I'm going to have things to say about Skyrim, but tell me things about your experiences in general with Bethesda.
Fallout 76. I was there. I pre-ordered Fallout 76. I played on the beta and got to level 30 in the beta, then deleted that character once the beta came back out, and I started a whole new one. And the game had proximity chat right off the bat. Like, so you were hearing people come up to you, you're walking by and all that. And you'd hear somebody in the distance, I got spurs that jingle jangle as they're going on. I remember sneaking up to my buddy and Wavy Willard's water park, and I'm up on a water slide while he's running around killing ghouls, and I'm like, and he could hear me, and I would see him. It was so fun, and that's the thing. That game, a lot of people hate on it for where it was when it came out. Personally, I loved the world whenever it came out. It really felt like you stepped out 20 years after a nuclear apocalypse. Every time they hit you with the bait and switch so many times, you hear a voice on the radio and you're like, oh yeah, let's go down there. Let's go deal with it. Only to suddenly find out that everyone there has been dead for a long time. That's just a looping radio message. And that put people off. But Bethesda designed it that way, so that way they wanted the players to be the drama. And that backfired on them
Oh.
because players, every person I ran into, I either tried to sell them chems. Hey man, you want to buy some buff out? I got about 30 kids at home that I got to feed. They ain't mine. I just took them in. I got to feed them, and it worked. I made caps limit within the first 2 days. Or they're like, oh, hey, stay over there. I don't want to get shot, but what kind of guns are you using? Oh yeah, I don't use pistols. You need what kind of? Yeah, here, take this ammo. You need some water? I got you here. You want some food? There you go, buddy. Oh yeah, here, take some rataways too. I'm gonna set it down right here. And to this day, you'll see people do what I call the dog spin. Like your dog spins around in a circle before it lays down in its bed.
Yeah.
People do the same thing to make sure the bag they drop stays in that spot. And that's the thing. Like people were like, there was no drama between people
It's
for
funny.
the most part. Again, you had your outliers. You had people that would run up and start destroying your base because they could.
Yeah.
But for the most part, players were meant to be the drama, and we were like, no, we're all in this together. We all came out of the same vault 3 days ago. I have this, and there wasn't a system to get rid of legendary weapons for script to buy other weapons until much later. So if you got a super cool shotgun, you sold that bad boy to another player, or you just straight up like, I'm never going to use this here. It was great. I had so much fun with it. Even today, like it hasn't gone backwards at all. It's only improved. Now you have community bases where somebody will build a base and then
Mm.
submit it for the community base, and like it's marked on the map real big. You have bases that are literally just like You'll walk up to it and there's a vendor now because we have vendor machines, and you'll find plans to build, everything from welcome mats to the recipes for mutation serums for dirt cheap. Why? Because they want other people to have them. I have all these plans I'm never going to use. What do I love to do? I love to go. There's every train station. There's usually some sort of container, like outside of the White Springs train station. There's a suitcase. That's where people would dump stuff they wanted for other people to have, but they didn't want to just destroy or just throw away. Like, oh, here's an
That
entire
sounds
set of
familiar. Yeah.
power armor plans. I'm just going to put them in here because somebody will use them. There's this sense of like, I don't know if you watched the Fallout show, that
Yeah.
golden rule. Like a lot of people are like Lucy. They're
Yeah.
just like, I just want to help, man. I just want to help.
Yep.
You
Because you
Raiders,
can.
sure.
I
Because you can.
because you can. I think that's really, really important to highlight right there, man, is that once you have, like, I noticed this in WoW, it's because it's one of the only places I am on that side of the coin. Like, I don't care about my 100 speed mount. I have a 60 speed mount. I'm fine. Like, if I have
I
the
can outrun guards.
opportunity,
We're cool.
yeah, I can outrun things. I'm totally fine. I'm not on a PvP server, so I don't need to outrun the horde. Like, I'm fine. So if I have the ability to do something cool for someone else, why wouldn't I do that? Because A, I'm just sitting on the gold waiting to go 40% faster. And two, I would hope someone who was watching me struggle busting it just today, I was reminded of you. I was playing hardcore for like an hour. I played hardcore just to use all of my rested experience up. And I started playing. I'm in Fall Glades, and a troll rogue shows up. And he's off killing friars, and I'm killing friars, and we're both waiting for the captain to spawn, Captain Vaughn. And I just right click invite, and he blind accepts. We both kill the captain. He didn't even need him. He's like, I need a couple more friars. I'm like, bet, me too. We finish that. We then go and kill the spiders together and just chit chat the whole time. In the middle of it, I just see my trade open and a green bag drops. I look down and chat's like, do you need a bag? And I look, and there's a nice open spot waiting for a bag to be dropped into it. And I was like, I do need a bag, and I appreciate it. And I thought of you immediately, dude. So I see this. So I figured you get a kick out of that.
Yeah. I mean, on a much simpler level, how many times have you walked past somebody fighting two mobs and they're at half health and you just stop and thoop, thoop, thoop,
Yep.
and just keep it pushing?
Oh, you're a hunter. I kind of backstab, and then I just kind of
Okay, stibbity stab. It's fine. I get it. You may steal a few silver from the guy while he's fighting.
I mean, it's just because it's macro doesn't mean nothing. You know what I mean?
But it is that. It's that whole, I can help you, so I will.
Yeah.
My preferred way to role play is to be helpful.
Yep.
Like the role I love to play is a supportive person. Other people are like, I'm here to take over the world. It's me versus you. Yeah, sure, it happens. It happens. You have those kind of people, but I've found, especially in hardcore, the amount of times people have just walked up to me in Westfall or something. Here's some potions. Here's some cloth. Here's this random green that I found. To touch back on the Bethesda thing, the other part of that, the modding community, the amount of stuff that I've found just because somebody from a labor of love is like, I hate it whenever I walk into this room and it automatically unequip my stuff. So I fixed that across the entire game. Yes. Every Bethesda game has an unofficial patch mod that fixes a bunch of stuff that Bethesda's like, ship it.
Yep. Ooh. So that's a dangerous little place that we can transition into games and developers just letting the community finish the game for them. There's definitely a balance there. I feel
like that could be an entire episode.
That can be an entire episode, but for the sake of not going down that road, to give them the benefit of the doubt, when you put out what you can put out between budget and time frames and whatever vision you might actually have compared to what your community sees in your product, there's not always going to be an alignment, and most of the times the customer expects more than what you were originally trying to put out there. But where they just knocked it out of the park, and I think really opened it up to be what it is today outside of even Bethesda games, is that they were just like, here, If you think you can do it better, go right ahead. And they didn't charge nothing for it. They just said go and do. We're not going to give you the source code, but we'll give you the ability, just like Blizzard does with add-ons, to tack on what you need to tack on to make whatever change you want to make. And I think that was enough for Bethesda to make enough of the goofiness that they've been up to the past like 5-10 years or whatever, both in the business, in their company, and whatever. But that right there is an example I was mentioning before, is if you give the communities the opportunity to do something, they're gonna do it. And to spite you too. To spite you, like, look how much the first mod packs I watched Bunny download, I looked at the game and I was like, you're not playing the same game. You must be playing Skyrim 6. Look how good this looks. And Skyrim 5 looks amazing. It's a beautiful game. And there's a mod pack that make it infinitely better. Like, how did you do that? How did you make it so much better looking?
You really just said Skyrim 6?
So I did. I'm glad you picked up on that. Yes, it pisses.
It's the Elder Scrolls, you plebeian.
I know. It pisses her off to no end. But yes, like, what makes what I'll let that marinate. I'm gonna let that marinate for everyone. What makes and I think with Skyrim, Elder Scrolls 5 specifically, it's been around for so long, is that there's been enough growth in technology to see a notable difference. But in all the times that they've let the game out, it's really just the base game. You're just going to get the same mod packs that you had before. Some of the titles in the web paging is going to be different, but other than that, it's the same thing.
But that's where the difference comes in. It's not just, oh, we made Whiterun prettier. Oh, we fixed the water graphics. There are entirely new quest lines that are like, I'm actually trying to audition for a Baldur's Gate 3 mod that someone's doing. And I'm like, I'll throw my name in there. Yeah. Yes, you come back to fight me again, kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm down. Let's go.
Dude.
Do it twice. Entire quest lines, entire whole new things that are so impactful that people are like, dude, you should play this quest or this quest mod. It's so cool. Or to use Elder Scrolls, I picked up Morrowind a while back, and oh my gosh, I hate that all of the every swing is a dice roll. If I wanted that, I'd play Baldur's Gate. I'd play D&D. So what's the first thing people recommend to me? There's a mod that removes the RNG from combat, makes it more like your typical hack and slash. And the only reason I don't lean into that is because it's the first time I'm playing the game. I want to play the game. I'll go and mod it later.
Yeah, and that's a good call.
I feel like that's a whole thing. But like, you're not just getting, patches, bug fixes, prettier things. You're not putting in a thing to make it so Serana has huge knockers and you can finally marry her. No, you have here's Serana's backstory. Here's a mod that lets you go to Cold Harbor. Here's a mod that lets you call Vivek a jerk 300 years later. Like, it's fantastic. I mean, like, I could sit here and literally foam at the mouth going off about this sort of stuff, but it's more than just, here, we fixed your game. It's like a whole other games. You just got to download and install it.
And that's that big similarity to what I've been experiencing in Comfy, and I think it's just because of the UI that Valheim isn't built for quests to begin with, so like they manually made quests. What I like with Bethesda games, because I know this is the same is true in Fallout 4, and I would also assume Fallout 3. You get to use the same. I know source coding is incorrect, but like the same architecture of coding when you go to mod in a whole quest line, like it's just like making a DLC, just smaller. Like the vampires in Skyrim and the really pretty underground place. Like, anyone can do that if you have the time and the inclination. That same power is in the community, and I think that that's great. Not only that it exists, but there are people willing to do it, man. It's so cool.
And to take it a step further, to circle back to WoW, Vanilla WoW, there were 3 mods I used no matter what before you even touch on threat meters and all of that jazz. Cartographer, Atlas Loot, and I used a bag add-on,
Yep,
but I don't
Bagnon.
anymore.
I'm a Bagnon
Yeah,
guy.
I didn't like it because I liked splitting my bags, but that's neither here nor there.
Fair.
Two of those add-ons became so ubiquitous that Blizzard just folded them into the game. Go into retail. You now have maps in or Questy. Questy's another good one.
Yeah.
You now have maps for dungeons. That was Cartographer. That was Cartographer's entire purpose.
I didn't
You
know
now
that.
have the
Oh.
dungeon guide. You have the dungeon guide. That's Atlas Loot.
Oh, that is,
Um,
isn't it? It sure
and
is. Fuck, I remember
Questy.
Atlas looked like so long ago.
Yeah, me too. I
Yeah.
remember being excited whenever Atlas Loot updated. Like, oh, they got the new tier sets. I can look and see what they look like on my character. Questies. I use Questy because I like to be able to open my map and go. I got to go there, so I can be like, all right, well, the age old thing of like I'm going to do a big circle around the zone. It
Yep.
allows me to plot out my route.
Yep.
That is baked into the game now.
That's good.
So not only do people have these tools that they're putting in, but the developers themselves are like, write that down, write that down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this
yeah.
is wild because back in my day,
Here we go.
add-ons could get you banned. They were illegal. And that's the thing. A lot of these big mod creators move in the same circles.
Then that makes a whole bunch of sense. So you like, why wouldn't they be all running in the same circles? That makes a lot of sense. And Shiroim, like Wim is probably one of my favorite non-gameplay enhancing add-ons. Like when I heard that existed, I'm like, why have I not been using this? Why am I scrolling up and down trying to find pink lines in order to see all the messages that I have?
Wim's baked into retail now as well.
That's
you can
right.
actually make it so that way when someone whispers you, it opens up its own little tab in your chat box.
Yes, it's like what teal, it's like the teal color or something like that, or that's the color
for
when
the
you get from a
whispers
friend.
and the teal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yep.
it's fantastic. I mean, there's so many things that were standard issue that are now used that are standard mods. Like if someone's like, okay, you're getting into modding, use this, use this, use this, use this. You don't have to anymore. To the point that I run like 3, maybe 4 total mods on retail, and none of them impact gameplay. I mean, the only one that's been there from day one is DBM, and Blizzard won't give you DBM. They want you to figure that out. And we kind of do have DBM in the sense of the dungeon guide. You can literally click a boss and you can go healer. These are the healer mechanics. Tank. Tank mechanics. So to a degree, it's folded in. It just doesn't give you that real time step out of the fire, run away, little girl. All of that stuff.
Yeah,
exactly. But you do have a lot of that folded in.
I think from a community standpoint, that's what happens when developer and customer have a two-way relationship. When you not only say you've taken in the feedback and we're going to consider it greatly internally, and you will know with our next 3 product lines if we've listened to you or not. And, hey, what's his face that goes on to Twitter every once in a while for WoW and just answers players' questions for hours on Twitter. I forget his name. But he's like famous for doing it. He'll specifically go on Twitter after a big announcement from Blizzard and just answer player questions. And like having that actually exist, both sides get the benefit. To your point, you can release a product that needs less modding from your community. And from the community standpoint, you can now focus on even bigger and better mods and maybe even push the envelope further to have the next iteration have more things baked into the retail version or the vanilla version of it. Bunny calls when I play Skyrim and Fallout, she says I'm playing vanilla because I don't do mods in either one. And I always equate it to WoW and it not like there's classic WoW or vanilla WoW and then like retail
TBC.
and there's the difference isn't mods, it's DLCs, but I think I look at it more about the progress of the game's development. Not the game's
Mhm.
story, but the game's development. There's the vanilla version of the game, and the we've cooked in all of the good stuff that has kept players here for 20 years. And that's really where that comparison is. I don't think I look for the better looking trees and the extra quests, but I'll tell you this, I wouldn't mind them either. I'm not against them. I think is a better way of putting it.
Now, I want to tee you up because I got an idea for like a back and forth I'd like to do.
Okay.
Let's use WoW. What is a thing that's happened within the last week that you made you go, I love this community? Have you had any interactions
Mm.
that gave you like that, this is what it's all about vibe?
You know what? I'll go so far as to say even today I got something like that. We were running lower Blackrock, and four of the five of us were guild, and the healer was not. So we're running through, and I think we wiped once. I vanished. The warlock had a soul stone on the ever like we were gravy. And right in the middle of it, the healer just out of nowhere apologizes for bad heals. And we're all just, or no, not bad heals. Let me be specific about it. Running out of mana so quickly, and it's a priest. It's a priest healer in Lower Blackrock. And as I'm typing out my interpretation, which was, well, priests, as I understand them, are very mana intensive, so I think you're doing fine. And as I go to
Right.
hit enter and I look, the rest of the guild has written the same story in different words. And I was like, we made this group of people, and we all had the same response to this stranger, a pug, in our group, and I was
Rando,
very
blueberry.
proud of everyone. I kept it to myself, but I was like, dude, mint. That was a mint fucking reaction.
That story makes me proud of my guild. I
Yes?
mean, I have a couple examples as well. Like,
Yeah, give
for
me yours,
instance,
dude.
I won a blue BOE item, right? Do it in an SM spell cleave group, and then we hit the chest. Everybody slash rolls on the chest. I love that's a thing that people still do. And they were waiting for me, and I'm like, no, I got a blue BOE. That's yours. I was just trying to be nice, but then several runs later, another blue BOE drops in an entirely different spell cleave group, and I watched the guy who won when we got to a chest go, nah, I want a BOE. That I pass.
Ah, nice.
There was a shout out to Natty Gray. If you're here, high five, big thumbs up to you. She was a no mage in my spell cleave group, and a blue BOE dropped, and she saw it as like, oh, need roll the upgrade, and everybody's like, oh no, and I was like, so here's this is kind of an etiquette thing. We all kind of greed roll on it. Some people are used to need rolling because that's the way it was, but then people stopped doing that because if you want a BOE with a need roll, it automatically bound it to you. So typically,
Mm. I
if it's
didn't
if it's
know that. Is that why we changed? I just
yes,
did it.
that's why people don't. That's why a lot of people don't just outright need on BOEs, not because it still binds it to you, but because there was a section of time where that's what happened.
Oh, and then the
Um,
etiquette stayed while the technical thing changed. I like that. I like that a
yes.
bunch. I didn't know that. Oh.
So I she was in my chat and I explained, okay, so here's what's up. Yes, you need rolled upgrades. If it's a BOE, if it says bind on equip and it's green and it's an upgrade, need roll that shit. Nobody's gonna care. If it's a bind on pickup, need roll all day. It's an upgrade. That's yours. Go for it. Roll your dice. But if it's a blue or a purple and it says bind on equip, we all greed roll. The only exception is if it's truly like if Scarlet Chain chess piece drops and the warrior's like, I'm gonna equip that right now,
Yeah.
then groovy. But if he doesn't equip it, then there's he's held accountable.
Yeah, it's like, raga raga. Yeah. Yep,
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly. But she was like, "Oh, I don't want your chat to get mad at me." I was like, "No, the one person in my chat that was giving you crap was she just giving you crap. That's just slidey. Don't worry about it. This is typically the etiquette. you don't know that people are going to be a little bit, like you said, roggle about it. But it's easy to just let the group yell at the person. Whereas it's so simple to just be like, well, blah, 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 blah. There's your information. And they're like, oh, wow, thank you. And you know what happened? That person, Natty, made a whole account on Twitch just to follow me
That's so
after
cool.
that encounter. And I'm just like, man, I love my running since I'm living in Scarlet Monastery recently, running Scarlet Monastery and seeing someone in general chatting, hey Mocha, and you just see pirate and all caps, how you doing, man? Like just stuff like that.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
it's what really makes you like the community. Just recently, Erdwolf, an upstanding member in our guild, gave me runecloth bags. I replaced the mage weave that Unstoppable gave me. So what did I do? Did I put them on the auction house? No. I went right to Northshire Valley, found some level 2 running around, and was like, boom, you get a bag. You get a bag. You get a bag. And while I was at it, turned all the extra cloth I had into bags and just handed that stuff out. It's
Nice.
the way it is. And you know what? We got 3 new additions to the guild. I had people add me. I've had people message me. It's a small act of kindness goes a long way. Way back in the day, I'm talking like Burning Crusade era. I got hacked. They deleted my hunter, just outright
Ugh.
deleted her. Blizzard brought her back, but in order to get the gear back then they made you have items in your inventory that they took away and put the gear back, which was really stupid because like they wanted like stuff I had to disenchant raid items to get, like Nexus crystals and whatnot. It was
Ugh.
weird. And I was like level 35, 40 maybe. So I'm like, I didn't have the stuff to begin with. When they deleted my character, they destroyed my bags, all that stuff. Literally, I will never forget Dominica because this lady, we moved in similar circles. We weren't exactly friends. I actually kind of pissed her off a few times. Straight up handed me a mooncloth bag. I didn't
Ooh.
replace that mooncloth bag for a while. And even when I did, it became one of the bags in my bank. I think I still have that in my bank to this day. And mooncloth bags, for those of you who don't know,
Mm.
that's expensive.
You make
It's
one
very
a
expensive.
week or some one every 3 days,
Yeah.
some shit, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And she was just like, here, get your stuff going, get your stuff back together. And that act of kindness, it stuck with me. I'll never forget that lady. So that kind of community goes all the way back. It's not a recent development. It's always been there. And like
Yeah.
you said, you just got to look. It's easy to be like, this game's bad, the community's bad. But if you look for it, you find the winners.
Yeah. 100%. So thinking about Skyrim and all of the different mod packs, they're all very reliant on each other. And you have these authors that have been around for so long that they become kind of staples in that community. So like if an update comes out or something that is going to impact, say, your other mods in a pack or whatever, like you got forums dedicated and you're waiting to like hear from these people. And like what the one guy said, he had stuff going on in real life, but he was willing to come back to like update his code.
Rating, it got so to the point where we relied on mods so much that rating stopped when Omen Threat Meter didn't get updated.
That's the other extreme of having add-ons hold your hand to such a point. Dude, I'm gonna steal your line. Back in my day, I remember being in the crossroads, and while I was in the crossroads, I had to read about the bristleboar back thing, guys. And that they're pigs that stand on 2 legs. And there's like 3 different tribes of them. And you get these quests, and they tell you, go kill them. But if you open up your map, it wouldn't show you where. Because back in our day, we had to read the quest. And it told you, go northwest of where this camp is, past a tree and this big rock. And then you'll see the ones that you need to get. And that, back in the day, having to go through that and then get the appreciation of the add-ons that you have now, some of them go way too far, up to and including the ones you have to pay for. If you guys ever come at me as a WoW freaking guy and say that we'll give you money to do our product, I forget the name of it and I don't want to say it to get in trouble anyway, but I won't do it because I don't want to pay an add-on to play the game for me, to put an arrow above my head to say walk that away. That's dumb and silly. I don't want to do it. But that's the other extreme when you in your community find a way to monetize these types of things. That's where things get a little bit dangerous, and it takes the community policing itself to make sure that those things don't really see the light of day.
You're 100% right. Or even to take it even a step further, when the quest doesn't help you, getting
Mm,
Rock Delar, the old level 60 bow, you grab that ancient petrified leaf from Major Domo's chest in Molten Core, and they don't tell you where to take it.
nope.
They tell you to find the person it belongs to.
Yep, that's all that quest
There's
says, dude.
And you know what? I never would have gotten it done if it wasn't for a website called thoughtbot.com. And
Thoughtbot.
thoughtbot.com is just an evolution of Alakazam. Alakazam crawled
Oh
so
my
Thoughtbot could walk,
god.
so Wowhead could run.
Listen to you, man. You want to talk about aging yourself just now.
Yeah, back in my day.
There it is.
And if it wasn't, because we didn't have quest add-ons like that back then. You looked stuff up on Thoughtbot. If it wasn't on Thoughtbot, you're fucking beat.
You're beat, yeah.
You revert back to the console days where it's like, I can't beat this. Maybe my buddy's big brother can. You know, you looking for
Yep.
somebody who did it first. You're in trade like, what the heck do I do with this?
Yes.
And you hope somebody doesn't tell you to Google it or stuff it up your bum.
And that's where you get like the server like gurus, the server mages who know the things. You get your legendary dudes who walk around, like someone walking around with maybe not a raid, but like a quest you didn't know existed has this thing at the end, and you're like, why do you have that? It's like, oh, well, I did this quest. What quest? You can't link it. There's no linking quests. It's you're like typing it out to them as you read it or whatever, because you're only going to see it in your own quest log. If you give a community opportunity to do it, they will. I've heard quite a few streamers go down that road of like shitting on Blizzard, is that you give them the opportunity to min-max and they will. You give them, like, there was an add-on and thank God it got walked back. In retail, you can scroll over people and you can see their item level.
Gear score.
Yeah, gear score. You can see, like now in retail with a Raider IO, you can see people's Mythic Plus score. You can see their raid clearance on what, just by hovering over them. They made an add-on that while you hover over someone, it would tell you their parses. In Season of Discovery. Ew, dude. Ew. And the whole community went, no, we're toxic. That's toxic, dude. Get
Like,
that out of here, man.
We're part of the problem, but that's a whole new problem we don't even want to touch.
Yeah,
or like Piddle
man.
Puddle in my chat just said, Piddle Puddle being that person that I was talking about earlier, my real life friend with the Borderlands 3.
What up, Piddle?
Exactly. You looked it up in Nintendo Power. Like if you couldn't figure it out, your buddy's brother wasn't at that point. You were like, all right, well, maybe there's an article. And then some giant egghead had sat down and been like, all right, I know you guys are having trouble with the water temple. This is the exact order that you do it. But it's funny because like that's what it was. There were like hierarchies of figuring it out. Now we have it to a point where, oh, are you struggling with this? Go look up a streamer and just ask them. 9 times out of 10, either they'll go, I don't know, and they'll just pull up a screen and how do I find this? Or they know. Like just yesterday, I was on console streaming Destiny 2, and Tunaboat Tony, a regular in my channel, was like, hey, I want to do that raid with you guys in SOD, but where is it? How do I get there? And I'm like, so fly to Ironforge, or go to Ironforge, fly to Minithil, take the boat to Aberdeen. The people are gonna tell you to follow the road all the way to Zormstrand. Don't do that. Just run along the coast. You'll get there much quicker. To get there at another time when we go to run the raid, you're not gonna have a flight path. That's a quicker way to get there. You will beat everybody else there. I'm not even playing that game, but it's important. You know what I mean? Like it being able to just, here you go. Just help people. Like you said, it's easy to do nothing. It's real easy to go, Google's right there. It takes effort to cap all this off, or like to put a nice little bow on it. Not that I'm trying to end things. That effort is what matters. That effort is what builds communities. Everybody can, because look at what happens when people stop putting the effort into the communities. You have retail dungeons, time walkings where people it's supposed to be just celebrating the older content, but no one talks. You die, no one reses you. I running time walkings. This past week, I straight up died on a boss because dude tanked it in the wrong spot. And then I didn't get to do the rest of the dungeon because they finished it while I was walking back because nobody bothered to res. That's what happens when no one puts in effort.
Yep.
When everyone puts in effort, what do you get? You get hardcore servers. We can all say it's lack of accountability. That's the easy answer. My personal rule that I hold myself accountable to is if I get mad about something that somebody does, even just from frustrated to full on, you mother truckers, do I do that? And if the answer is yes, in any shade, then I can't get mad. I need to be better.
That personal accountability, the thing that we're expecting out of everyone, we have to make sure we're doing it ourselves. We have to.
And that's my personal challenge to each and every one of you out there, as well as myself. Be the change you want to see.
Yes.
Is somebody behaving like a jerk in your dungeon? Don't go, hey, dude, stop that. The easiest way to disarm somebody, hey, are you okay? Is everything all right? Do you need help with anything? Automatically makes people take a look at themselves and go, well, why would they say that?
Yeah.
And then you have to follow it up with solutions.
Yes.
That was something me and my missus, we stopped doing. We stopped. I don't like it when you do this, or I don't like this. Instead, I'm not a fan of how this went. Here's my solution. Don't come to me with problems. Come to me with solutions.
Let's see here. So we've gotten to cover Comfy. We've gotten to cover Bethesda. We've gotten to cover No Man's Sky. I'm feeling pretty good about the things we've covered. I'm feeling really warm and fuzzy about the games we're playing, the people that we're playing with.
I'm literally excited to go play more. I'm excited to sit here with some of these people that we've been talking to, and just let's go. I mean,
yeah, man.
One of my favorite things to do when someone's new to WoW, and it's like, oh, you're on retail, okay. Oh, you got to this level, cool. Do you have any cool mounts? No, I just have this and that. I'm using just the Griffins or just the Wyverns. Oh, dude, come on. I'm taking you to Obsidian Sanctum. We're gonna get you a Black Dragon.
A Black Dragon.
Because what's cooler than flying around on a dragon? Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Oh, dude, we could do that? Yeah. Hey, let's go kill Grandpa. Maybe he'll drop you a laser bird.
Ooh.
And he's Grandpa because he talks a lot.
I love that.
Tell me another one, Kael'thas.
That's why you
monologues
call him
like
Grandpa.
3 different times in that fight. Yeah.
Oh my God. Whatever you say, Grandpa. That dragon would be very upset with you if it knew you were calling him Grandpa.
Oh, Kael'thas? Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I've kicked his ass like 3 different times canonically, and then went to the afterlife and saved him. So,
what a guy you are. I wish I could remember my freaking retail lore like that. It's been too long. I've been doing the same classic stories over and over, and it's been making me so happy. I learned so much by playing the same version of the game over and over and over again. Because now I'm reading things because I'm there.
If you don't do both sides of a quest line, you don't do the Horde and Alliance versions of a zone, you don't get the full story.
Yeah.
If you only do the Alliance side of Hillsbrad, you just kill a bunch of stuff. Deal with an undead dude that randomly spawns every so often outside of South Shore and eats everybody. And then you fuck off to go deal with ogres. But if you play the Horde side of it, now you understand why that random undead dude spawns outside of South Shore, because you made him spawn.
Because I made him spawn.
Just on this last playthrough, I used to always just take the quests and didn't read them. It was like, oh, go kill a bunch of Murlocs, I'll kill a bunch of Murlocs. Go kill even more Murlocs, I'll kill a bunch of Murlocs. Oh, go kill some Naga, I'll do that. Just this last playthrough on my little gnome, I learned that all of that is this one dude who's assigned to South Shore doesn't want to work there anymore. He wants to get sent back to Stormwind. And you're doing all that so you can go over his boss's head to his boss's boss and deliver a report.
Outstanding. What a drama's built into the game that's so relatable that people are just missing, man. Like that. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. What a great storyline. I noticed my very first time playing in the Alliance, everybody's drunk. The Horde isn't drunk. The Alliance is drunk, dude. I guess if you see green monsters coming out of the forest, you'd be drinking all day too, but damn. You have a wine-stained cloak as a gear piece leaving the starter zone. I read that. I'm like, shut up, dude. Like, come on.
Oh, Millie Osgood.
Yeah, he's hanging in the bell tower of a church, hammered drunk. And he's like, here, I spilt this on his cloak. You can have it now. Like, all right.
Now, what's more is you run into that lady's father out in Redridge. He asks you to go take an order for shoes to Stormwind.
I remember that quest. Yeah, I paid a lot of attention when I first started doing the quest in hardcore, like a year ago. Was my first time playing Alliance and Classic. That's when I noticed that everyone was a drunk, and then the go here, go there, everywhere quest. Like, I'm actually reading everything, and the one dude in Red Ridge really wants help, and Stormwind is like, I don't know, ask
I got nothing for you.
yeah,
man.
ask Westfall. And I go to Westfall, they're like, dude, we're a level lower than them. What are they asking us for? And I go back to the guy, and he's like, Raga. And I'm like, dude, I guess drink about it. I don't freaking know.
There's actually one of those, we want to ask the neighboring provinces for each one of those zones. When you do the Defias quest line, they send you to Red Ridge, and then you go back and he sends you to Stormwind, and then you go back and he sends you to Duskwood. Then you're in Red Ridge,
Yes,
and he's
that's
like, go
right.
ask all of these three people or these three groups for help. And they're like, we got our own problems, buddy.
Yeah. It was really interesting to see that because
And all of that is because of Katrina Prester, by the way. All of those we don't have enough forces is because of Katrina Prester. Anixia. She
Yes,
she
I know, like,
deliberately
I know that
thinned out
name.
the armies and sent them off to go do stuff to allow the Knoll invasion, to allow the stuff going on in Red Ridge, to allow the lack of help to get to the Death Watch out in Duskwood. All of those things were by design by this lady, and you don't even put that together until you're like 60 doing your Anixia attunement.
Yeah, see, like that, a huge difference between the Horde Anixia attunement quest line and the Alliance one. Besides the fact that you get to meet Anixia, you get to interact with her plenty in the Alliance side. The Horde one takes you all over the world killing dragons. The Alliance just wants you,
You get to
kill
go to
two.
Grim Batal, though.
You do get to do
That's
that.
pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. I'll give you that much. That is cool. And those are the types of things that, like, without, like, say, a player like you in the guild, most people aren't going to pay attention to, let alone have the desire to want to pay attention to it. So I think to like, actually put a bow on this, the recurring theme of it takes effort to have these good things that we want for ourselves. Comfy Valheim, the entire modding community with Bethesda games and others, these grandeur actions to really provide what you want to see, and as a happenstance everyone gets to be involved with it. I like that you and I get to be, in some ways we get to be part of that, like getting to be guild leaders, getting to be content creators. We have that opportunity to use skills and knowledge to provide what we want for everybody else, so long as we keep our balance, and we won't have to quit for a month before we come back and like, all right, I'm ready to do this again. And then the next quarter finances come in, we have a big meeting with the VP, and we're sweating freaking bullets.
I mean, look at what just happened in your own chat. Inner nerddom. I guess I have to play Alliance now.
Listen, we're here for it. I'm not a fan of playing for the Alliance, but literally the only reason I know anything about the humans now is because all of my friends from SOD wanted to play for the Alliance on a PvE server. I would have been Horde PvP, instead I am Alliance PvE, and I am all the happier for it. So please, by all means, if you guys are looking for a guild to play with, chilled, relax, season of dad veterans, come on in to Just Pixels. Come and enjoy the game with us. We'll have a blast. Executive Pirate will teach you things you had no idea you wanted to care about in a game until you hear him speak the lore with the utmost of passion. Sir, I am very satisfied with what I got off my chest today. What about you?
I think this was a wonderful episode. This is
Yeah.
definitely one that I'm going to recommend to people. Like, you want some positivity in your life? Go listen to that one.
And you'll get to learn about all the cool things available out there. Comfy Valheim, an entire modded community for if you're a dragon nerd for Bethesda, or if you're a pew pew nuclear bomb nerd for Bethesda. There's an entire modded community out there to make the game cooler, faster, prettier, whatever you're looking for. Guys, all of you, thank you very much for joining us today. I had a blast, and I hope you guys did too. Sir?
Dismissed, mateys.